Alright guys, welcome to Flavio Rihanna's MMA show. I'm your host Flavio Rihanna, brought to you by Four Corner Sports. Guys, UFC 291 is officially in the books. Headlined by the BMF title, Justin Gaethje versus Dustin Poirier. We're going to kick it off right there. Alright, so Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier both are going to fight each other in a rematch, and the BMF title is on the line. The inaugural winner, Jorge Masvidal, was in attendance, and he was gonna wrap the belt around the winner of that of the match. And gotta say, a lot of people were really thinking that this was gonna be fight of the year, and I really thought that myself too. But going into round one, the defensive prowess that is Dustin Poirier, who likes to implement his jab, to set up a lot of his power shots, and I felt that Gaethje took a lot of hits in that first round. Gaethje also was able to identify on being able to utilize those leg kicks, and he was giving in some mean, heavy leg kicks to Dustin Poirier, and Dustin Poirier looked like he didn't want some of those, and it immediately reminded me of the fact when Gaethje fought Khabib, and Khabib was really not liking those things until Khabib ended up taking him down and then submitting him. And not that I think that Poirier was going to try to do that, because I felt like Poirier was going to try to just, muscle in and then try to utilize a couple of combinations until Gaethje was going to get, wobbled and stuff like that, similar to what happened in the first fight. But that did not happen. Gaethje has improved defensively sound as well, too. He's a more responsible fighter. He's not the chaotic Justin Gaethje when he first came in and then fought your Michael Johnsons, your so on and so forth. But I do feel that Dustin Poirier was carrying very good momentum. Gaethje got cut. He was bleeding out of his, I think, above his right eye. And I'm like, all right, typical Gaethje, Poirier, very defensively sound, very good timing and stuff like that. And using that jab, I felt like he was very, very smart for doing that. Round two, different story. I felt that round two was what's it called? Dustin Poirier got a little bit carried, full of himself, I felt like he was, he knew the rhythm of the fight and stuff like that, but he didn't anticipate the fact that Justin Gaethje was going to throw a high kick. Now, Justin Gaethje, pretended that he was going to throw, a left punch. Dustin Poirier ends up, trying to, block it and stuff like that. Doesn't throw the punch, and then Gaethje throws a high kick right behind the ear of Dustin Poirier, dropping Dustin Poirier down to the floor, and then Gaethje just throws one hammer punch, and that's it. Herb Dean bolts in, slides in, tries to protect Poirier from any type of more damage that he was going to be able to receive. Gaethje wins, gets on top of the octagon, does his usual backflip, celebrates and stuff like that, and that is your new BMF champion. Masvidal comes in. Didn't look too happy that he was gonna have to put the belt on Poirier. He didn't put the belt on Poirier. He just put it over his shoulder. Just told him, here, you won, congratulations, and then went over to Dustin Poirier and asking him if he's all right. Because that's his boy. I was pretty petty about that. I'm like, wow, come on, Masvidal. Big fan of his, but I just felt that he should have just actually put his feelings out of the side and do what he was scheduled to do. What's next for Gaethje? He's definitely going to face the winner of Makhachev versus Charles Oliveira. I have a feeling that Makhachev is going to be able to win that rematch against Oliveira, and he'll be able to fight Justin Gaethje. All right. For Dustin Poirier, I don't know. Dustin Poirier, he might take a year off. I feel like the obvious fight would be, him fighting Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz is scheduled to fight Jake Paul next week in a boxing fight, and I feel like Dustin is probably going to fight maybe like once or twice a year. He may have one or two more fights left in him, and I feel like Nate Diaz is that one fight that he really wanted to get back. It was just very, very good stuff right there. Perfect main event. As for the co-main event, that was a really good one that I really actually enjoyed. I was very intrigued because it was Alex Pereira making his former middleweight champion making his light heavyweight debut, facing Jan Blachowicz. Now, Jan Blachowicz is a former what's called light heavyweight champion, lost his belt to Glover Teixeira, who's actually cornering and it's the right hand man of Alex Pereira, and Alex Pereira was being put in through a rigorous grappling session in his training camps, led by Glover Teixeira, and telling him, hey, this is exactly what Jan Blachowicz is going to be able to do. And Jan Blachowicz ended up, first thing he did within the first 5 seconds of the fight, throws a punch and then immediately shoots for the single leg, pushing Alex against the fence. And Alex is, just trying to, defend on the grappling exchanges. Jan gets the back of Alex Pereira, goes for the rear naked choke. Alex offends, I want to say maybe like 2 or 3 rear naked chokes, and the whole round finishes, right? Alex doesn't implement any damage. Jan implements a little bit of ground, like little short punches and stuff like that. And Jan wins round 1. Round 2, different story. Not Alex was able to defend a plenty of takedown attempts that Jan was trying to implement, but then Alex was also utilizing his kicking game. Utilizing the leg kicks, utilizing the body punches, punches towards the head. But he really chewed up on the leg on Jan Blachowicz. Jan Blachowicz, looked like he was getting tired. I feel like looked like he actually used a lot of energy trying to take Alex Pereira down. And you know what? Alex did have the right game plan, and I felt like also the sea elevation did play a factor for Jan Blachowicz. Maybe he was not actually thinking that was going to be a huge factor. But man, I gotta say, Alex looked very impressive. Round 3, it was more of the same, and Alex ends up walking out of Salt Lake City as the winner by split decision. Now, Jan thinks that he ended up getting robbed. I don't think so. I just felt that Jan didn't do enough. I think he was more focused on trying to grapple, and he didn't defend plenty of those leg kicks because his leg was chewed up and it was cooked. And I felt like that was one of the reasons why Jan was trying to use takedowns, but Jan didn't have the right game plan. I mean, I felt like he was like a little bit scared on dealing with the power that Alex Pereira imposes, but hey, you know what? That's a fight game. What's next for Alex is that he's gonna fight Yuri Prochazka. When? Might happen at the end of the year if Conor versus Michael Chandler does not happen, and that'll be for the vacant light heavyweight title. As for Yuri, that was Alex and Yuri. As for Jan Blachowicz, I feel like he's going to have to fight Alexander Rakic. Those type of guys. I don't think he's going to ever wear gold again. I mean, he is 40 years old, so he may have maybe about 1 or 2 more fights left in him. But Jan Blachowicz is, in the back 9 of his UFC light heavyweight career. Going on into the next fight, Derek Lewis versus Marcos Rogerio de Lima. Now, this fight lasted about 33 seconds, right? And we can kind of get an opinion on how this ended up happening. The fight ended up by TKO, but nobody was expecting Derek Lewis to throw a flying knee. Bringing in his inner Jorge Masvidal. And then applying those lunch boxes that he has his hands, and then just wailing on Marcos Rogerio de Lima until Dan Miragliotta ended up stopping the fight. I mean, I gotta say, Derek Lewis looked pretty good, and he announced his free agency, A-level stuff on the mic, took off his shorts and everything like that. Said that he felt hot. Threw his cup in the crowd, threw his gloves in the crowd. A lot of souvenirs for the Salt Lake City faithful. And now he's a free agent. Now, what I think should he be his next plan is he should definitely go to PFL, fight Francis Ngannou for that $2 million wager, because the UFC is not going to pay him $2 million. Get that bag, and then come back to the UFC, fight 3 more fights or whatever it is that he wants to fight, and then call it a career. Because that's to be the best way that he can make his money right there. As for Marco Rogerio de Lima, I mean, he's going to fight your Parker Porters, your Junior Tafas, your Justin Tafas, and stuff like that. I mean, he's not in the same tier as Derek Lewis, and it just clearly showed. And maybe he got blindsided by that flying knee. But overall, I mean, Derek Lewis comes out as the winner. But as for the next 2 fights, a little bit depressing. Tony Ferguson versus Bobby Green. Now, I think Tony should hang him up. I think Tony didn't look so well. Everything changed after that eye poke, and I understand that eye poke was very significant in the fight, but I also feel that Bobby Green was just throwing volume, and Tony, even though he didn't look fatigued out or anything like that, even at sea elevation, I just feel that Tony Ferguson is never going to be the same Tony Ferguson that we've known and loved. And this is the same man that has won 12 fights in a row in the lightweight division, a multiple time winner for the interim title belt. Didn't get a true undisputed title shot because of politics and management screwed him over. And I felt like Conor McGregor was the mere culprit, right? Because Conor and Tony had the same management, and then obviously Conor ended up, steering up and becoming superstardom. What's next for Bobby? Now Bobby ended up winning by triangle choke in the last 5 seconds of the fight. I don't know. I want to see him fight somebody like a Terrence McKinney or something like that. I mean, Bobby's not fighting for no damn title. Kevin Holland versus Michael Chiesa. That was the opener of the main card, and Kevin Holland, man, he looked good at 170, and he's gonna be a real tough challenge for a lot of these people to face. Michael Chiesa looked like he was a shell of himself. Felt like he didn't know how to grapple, didn't know how to strike. Felt like he was. It looked like Michael Chiesa thought that he was in the ring with Francis Ngannou. And Kevin Holland was just picking him apart in the stand-up department. The striking and everything like that. Dropping Michael Chiesa multiple times. And I just think that Michael Chiesa should just go back into the analytical booth and focus on that, because fighting may not be his thing. And maybe that back really does need surgery. And maybe he just needs time to recover. But yeah, that was UFC 291. Overall, I do believe it was a better card than UFC 290. Felt like it had a lot more action. Gabriel Bonfim looked like a stud in the feature prelim, proving to 15-0 with 15 finishes. I think he's going to be a future title contender in welterweight. Give it about 2 to 3 more years, and then you're really going to start seeing people try to induct this guy. Miranda Maverick, gets back into the win column, gets a win against Priscilla Cachoeira. And yeah, guys, it was just very good, fun fights. I really want to know what you guys think about the main event. Do you think that Justin Gaethje has a chance against Islam Makhachev? When you predict that Dustin Poirier is in return, and against who? And then also, Derek Lewis, where does he go? Does he go to the PFL? Does he go to BKFC? Does he go back to the UFC? Where does he go? But yeah, guys, that's all I got for you. Until the next time, I will see you hopefully next week. Until then, have a good one. Peace, guys, and have a good one. See ya.